Hello, good morning. Happy Friday. It is Friday. Yeah, it's Friday. Hello, Asitsu. How are you doing today? And hello, Game Stylist. How are you? All right. We got Zilby a brand new toy. Super Keeper, good morning. How are you doing today? It's an electronic toy. It'll move around. Hopefully he'll chase it. See if I can get him visible on the camera too. Unless it just immediately goes into the closet, of course. Great. You figured out a problem you were struggling with in a project. Awesome. That's always a great feeling to figure out those problems. So, congrats on that. The solution was to do things the dumb way. Is that also like the simplest way? The dumb way? Because I also find sometimes that like the less clever of a solution is almost always better. Even if it's more code, even if it's something else. What am I building? This is an assessment for building a web server in Axum. So the actually for the assessment, there's 3 sort of tests here that are done. So first, that you should be able to return static files. So this would be something like JavaScript files, asset files, images, things like that. You should be able to get a rendered index file. So you should be able to take a HTML template file of your choice and then render that in. And I think I wanted to update it so that way we can put in a name here too. So something like go to base URL and then question mark, like, name equals. And I don't know, you could be Zilby or kitty cat. Good morning, Stacking. How are you doing today? Besides scared. The cat toy scared me. I thought it was a big grasshopper was jumping around or something. Yeah, that would be something. If there was a grasshopper of that size, like this close to me, just hopping around, I would and like I'm not moving at all. Like I'm just like, oh yeah, this is normal. This is fine. Good morning, Beporter. How are you doing? What I like especially about this toy is that it'll run for a while. So like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and then it'll shut itself off for like a long time, like an hour or so. And you also notice it's really slow, which is Zilby, as you notice, like doesn't really go after it. He's still getting used to this. All of the other ones he would run away from because they're too fast for him. This one, he at least is willing to be nearby, and he's interested in it, especially when it goes out of sight. So I'm hoping that he'll eventually be willing to attack it. It's Zap. It's Zap. Hello. Sorry I mispronounced your username, probably horrifically. More like machines taking over the world. Grasshopper machines. Well, it'll be yeah, we'll make little robot grasshoppers and other animals. So Asitsu, your project is to analyze a Rust project to find all packages, libraries, binaries, but in a remote GitHub repository, which means replicating some of the cargo functionality because that only supports local file systems. We need more like remote discovery tools. It's easy to find stuff on our own system. It's not yet easy to find stuff on like GitHub, and then cross-platform remote is even harder. Like, there's so many projects that I think are on GitHub simply because that's where you're going to be able to discover them. Imagine if you could have projects easily spread out across many of the different repositories. So like GitHub, GitLab, some of the other ones, Bitbucket. There's another one, but I forget what it's called. Self-hosted. That would be good too. Oh, you found an endpoint to just recursively list all the files. Oh, that's really nice. Yeah, so you're not actually having to do a get pull. That is nice. All right, well, the toy went off into the other room. I don't know if you can see it. It's I think it's out of view. So if Zilby comes back in, I'll turn the camera back on. But he's supervising it, making sure it stays out of trouble. And Zilby successfully was distracted from seeing the spider that's on the wall. So he's not going to go torture that, at least right now. You know how many times you try to solve different software versions in Python? I mean, it's one of the reasons why, like a cargo, like some kind of library management system is so important these days. It's because like just working with different versions is so hard. But like, it's not like just having that as a magic solution. Look at Ruby. Ruby's gem system is, you know, arguably very similar to npm or crates, but like because it's centralized, it's just like so hard to it's like, okay, well, I have like these 3 different versions that I need now for this project. Well, too bad. Now you're in trouble. Have we been following the mock drama? No, I haven't. What's the TLD? A? Too long, didn't pay attention on it. In the meantime, I guess we'll start heading over and doing this. So I want to pass in context to this template with the value in right. I wanted that name. So I know it's Zap. I was thinking like maybe there could be a more clever, like, because it's not read, right? I guess maybe in this case it is read online. Inability of different versions coexisting in the final result is what causes the most problems. We waste so much time at your job fixing dependency conflicts and jars. Yeah, I think that's something that Node.js does a decent job at preventing those problems from affecting the code. The side effect of that is that you have like a billion gigabytes of packaged Node modules in your system, because you just get a copy of everything for every project you've ever touched. Okay, so mock is a C# library to fake user data. A third party bought the project and are doing hashing of emails so they can follow users across different Git projects. Oh no, marketing for, oh no. I don't like where that's heading. It's already easy to follow developers across Git projects. And it's like, okay, I'm surprised they just didn't take it offline and do it privately. Are they trying to follow developers, or is it like users logging in? Because if they're trying to follow developers, then that's like okay, well, I guess I'm done with that. Although I never used it because I don't really program in C#, so I'm not affected. But if it was me. Oh, that's a good question, Isitsu. It's, did somebody buy it, or did they just get sponsors and embed stuff? I remember when developers started throwing those messages into Node.js, so when you install, it started saying like, "Hey, give me money," and that was a pretty big drama event that happened too. Interesting. So the sponsor link hashes the developer's email and sends it to check if they've already supported the project. If not, it nags them. So, I guess like I get the idea, and it comes from a good place, right? It comes from like, I don't want to nag you unless you haven't done anything. But there's gonna be better ways to do that. The whole thing is third-party closed source and obfuscated thing, so it took a lot of effort to even find out that it's a thing. But it was found out. And that's the problem. That's usually what happens is when you try to hide it, or even if you don't try to hide it, but it accidentally looks like you try to hide it, that's gonna be the drama. Is it not query? Is it not query? Maybe it's query. Yeah, query. Okay. So query. How are you not failing? Shouldn't you yell at me saying that this needs to implement serialize and deserialize? We're getting error in the routers. The trait handler, okay, so getting a not great error message about it, but I'm pretty sure it's because this doesn't implement serialize and deserialize. Which I don't have. So something that I think was good, npm, GitHub, I'm sure there's a few other projects have implemented systems for requesting or telling, like, telling the greater community, I need some kind of funding if you want this to be continued, because I can't continue this unless I have some money to survive. If C# doesn't have that for their system, then it needs to be added. And the problem is that this developer, if they don't, because C# didn't add something in for them, is going to just do their own thing. And that's going to mostly hurt them, not C#. But then C# hopefully we'll figure it out and add something in so that future developers won't feel the need to do a similar thing. Yep, that was it. So I'm not super happy with the compile message for that. I sort of feel that it should be able to figure that out, but it seems to be the same compile message for anything that goes wrong in the signature of the function, which is, that's going to be rough because they're using a lot of traits to figure out, like, okay, what you're extracting and everything else, which might mean they lose pretty easily. They don't, like, at compile time, they don't know. It's not really at compile time. At, like, library write time, they don't know what a compile time error would be. Because it's not compile of the library, it's compile of my code using the framework. That's a tough problem to solve. Okay, so I have the query params. I want to add in a name. So I can do context dot, is there a set? Ooh, I can insert. Okay, insert. So we're gonna do name and query dot name, which sounds like you want it to be reference. Okay, so we have the context, and then I want to render this. I pass it the context, which means we need to go to our home to HTML, and I want something like, okay, we have body. We'll have an h1 tag, and we'll have something like hello. Ooh, I don't remember what style they do. Is it just handlebar style, where it's just like name? I don't remember. Okay, so if I do that, then I want to go back to our assessments here, and when we're okay, so the first line should have HTML. That should be great, and then we should be able to find hello space Zilby. Which I don't know if I can do a find on this. I guess I have this full HTML. I've only borrowed it. Okay, so if I borrow it again, it'll be fine. I just don't want to borrow it mutably. Oh wait, has name? Maybe that will work. So HTML, I don't think. Oh, there is a contains. Okay, so contains. Does it have to be regular expression, or can I do something like hello? So, and I want to just assert HTML as name. This should be true. Ooh, okay. So, just to make sure this is what I expect, let's change this to like Zilb. Failed. Yeah, panicked at that. So it has hello Zilby. Okay, so that was, I was correct. It uses handlebars. Perfect. Okay, so we have a hello Zilby in there. And it found, okay, so it found a rendered index. We probably want to have some kind of default in here, which I don't think I can do in there. I think we're gonna have to do this in here, right? It's like if there's no query, so I probably want this to be an option. What if later on we're passing it in? This will be I guess there's an option there, right? So this would be name equals query name. You can be a reference. And we'll throw you in there. Otherwise, ooh, I can do the insert only once. I forgot to return you. I want this to be like an actual to stir, not that. As stir. There it goes. Okay, so that way it's the same type. We have our name, we insert that name, then I render the HTML, and then I return that back. Okay, so we're good to go. And you should still pass. Everything does. No warnings. All right, so what did we do here? We are committing that we're testing that we can render HTML, render an index essentially. And also at the same time, pass in all right, so I know it's weird to do like an indexed HTML with that, but this prevents it so I don't have to do too many like a sort of like little tests on the same exact thing over and over and over again. This one is basically, hey, can you do this thing? You're going to get indexed HTML. Also, if you don't have that, it's going to be fine. Let's actually add this in to our README. Okay, so stir static files, render HTML, render HTML with like dynamic data. What is that called? Context. This one called it context. Okay, so the first one we want to serve the static file. The static file is public sample.json. I guess serve all files. In the public directory. Oh, hey, welcome back. With this one, I want to render HTML. No demon, hello. How are you doing today? Okay, so let's render. I want to render HTML with a name. Render HTML with a name query param. Oh, I remember now. I wanted to use rand. I want to use rand so it's not always the same thing. So render HTML with a name query param. Yeah, things are fine here. I do have, like, starting yesterday and today, we have some like meetings that we have to go to in a day job, which is annoying, but they're fine. Like, you know, it's not always the best thing to go into the work to go into these meetings, but it's also nice, sort of meet and hang out with people that I normally don't get to see because they're like on the East Coast or somewhere else, and they all flew in and hanging out. And it's also Friday, which is always nice because weekend. Okay, so then the next one is, we can update this now, which is respond with index.html even if the like, I guess respond with HTML when the route doesn't match. Would have been A404. Okay, so I want to do that. For the assessment itself. Oh yeah, and I completely forgot about this one. I want rand. Okay, let's fix that really quickly. I do not have rand. All right. Isn't it thread RNG? Yeah, there it is. Thread RNG. I want our name is gonna be. So I'm not using it anywhere else. Okay, so that's fine. Our name is going to be. Let's see. What do I want to put in this? Oh right, it's alphanumeric. I'll just do this as something 8. That should be random enough. Okay, so your name. I don't want to take ownership of this, unfortunately, so we have to do that. And then down here, I want this to contain. Can I say that it contains the name? Does that work? Expected a standard ops function mute care closure found a string, but it needs a pattern. Okay. What can I do for pattern? So like I can write something in. Okay, the pattern can be a stir. So we can do as stir here. Okay, that should then work, and you should still pass. Excellent. All right. I guess I'll using a random name instead of hard-coded. Okay, should get a rendered index instead of a 404. So if I attempt to go to just to something completely random like that. The response, so that should be a 200. So already this is not going to work because it's going to yell at me about this. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so we got a left does not equal right. We got a 404. Okay, makes sense. Let's go fix that. So I need a... Okay, so we have this router home. I kind of want to put something in here then. So we're going to have a pub async. Do I want to do a catch-all for this one? Maybe. Maybe I do. And I don't even have to change this. I just want to go to router mod. And so we say, hey, if you go into slash, you get home. But really, if you go to slash anything, you get home. Which, so if I do, okay. Slash star parameters must be registered with a name. Oh, okay, so it's happy with that. I just need to register it with a name. How do I do that? Oh, is this something like a dot something I can put on it? Maybe there's like a method on here that I could run. Okay, so method, if I do route. Okay, so we have our path method router. Well, so the problem is I want to match everything, not things that only match with something like star and like anything and then that specific thing. So is there like a name in here? There is no name. Stacking! You're able to take bites of real food? Awesome! That's great. So does this mean that you get a I thought it was like 2 weeks of bed rest, or is that over? I can't remember anymore. Time has no meaning for me anymore. So I don't remember how long it's been. Okay, so there's like no name here. It compiles. Okay, so invalid route /* parameters must be registered with a name. I wonder if there's an example that can help us out here. So maybe global 404 handler. Add a fallback service for handling routes to unknown paths. Okay, so so after we've created the router, I want to do an app.fallback, which returns app, so it returns a router. So I can do this in the router, the create router function. And then we get a handler 404, which is a handler. Okay. So we want a fallback. Okay, so like down. So I want you to be there like that. And then maybe like down at the bottom, we'll do fallback. And the handler is home. Oh, what do you not return? Oh, you return a self. Okay. So you return a self. I can't let fallback be the last thing, even though it's returning a self. Okay, that's weird. The surgery didn't go as planned, so now they're doing it in three or so steps. The heal time is much quicker than expected, but you have to do this in late September. So in a month, you have to do this again. Oh no. Oh, I'm sorry about that, Stacking. Ooh, let's take a look at this. Oh, so like the path segments and catching that? Yeah, I suppose we could do this. It'll store a single segment, but we can play around with it, but I don't think that this will help if I'm like at multiple paths in and I get wrong. I still want that to return an index.html, if possible. Kingziller, hello. We're making an assessment for a web server in Axum. So in this case, the assessment is to always return the index.html regardless of what path you hit. But I think the fallback is going to work. I think that one's going to be the best choice. So return home regardless of what you get. I believe we're handling the option for the query param, so that should be fine. Which means if I run you, it passes. Okay, so that's to be expected. What is the application for that? Well, Nginx to do this. Oh, yeah. So you can do Nginx do this, but sometimes you don't want Nginx to do that, or sometimes you do want Nginx, but just to pass through. It's fairly common to set something up like in other languages like Express or something else to run this and do this option for you. So that's why. It's more of, okay, can you do this? That's the assessment, is like, okay, if you need to, can you do this? Like, I'm at the point where I almost always recommend that your API and your web server be completely different and separated, because then you can put your web server under like a static server. So like you can use something like AWS S3 to serve your front end, and you can serve, or you can use Vercel or something else, like anything that is super cheap and free to serve the web server part, because it's really just a bunch of static files as far as the server is concerned. If you need to make changes to the HTML, you can use edge functions for that if you really need to. But most often you do front end rendering for that anyways. I guess like these days now you have back end rendered stuff is coming back into mainstream. And so the other thing is you might say, well, I want that indexed HTML, but I want it to also be changed and be dynamic. I want it to update things from the database. And like in that case, yeah, it's not necessarily going to work out well. Use EC2 and ECS and S3 for images. Yeah, that's a good stack. I use ECS also. I use S3 for hosting like static HTML as well. RDS for the database, that's a good choice too. Like AWS is a pretty good system. I do like it a lot. It's fairly hard to get into would be the way I would put it. You're using CloudFormation and Puppet with Terraform. Yeah. I'm using Pulumi, which uses a lot of Terraform stuff behind the scenes. Basically, it's almost exactly the same thing, except instead of configuration files, it's like TypeScript. Oh, if they came out with a Rust language support for Pulumi, that would be amazing. And I think it would be really good for that too, because you want your cloud stuff to like be solid. What was I doing? I want to go back to testing here. I want to make sure that our tests are actually like working right. So I want to get a static file. I get this one static file here. I think I want to get a nested static file. So let's copy sample to JSON. I want cd into public. Let's take a nested folder. Let's go into here. So let's do 1, 2, 3, and we'll just add in a 4. So that way it's different. Because something I was thinking about is it might be fairly easy to... I want to make sure that this works with nested file structures, because that's kind of important. So should get a nested static file. Okay, so the expected file is in public nested sample JSON. The URL is public nested sample JSON is where I'm going. I get the response. I should get a 200 back, and we expect that they're the same. Okay, that's what I want to work. Okay, and that works as expected. Oh, the file icons up here for these? Yeah, they're really nice. I am using, what are they called? It's I forgot what I updated. I changed my LL and my LS and everything else to use. Wait a second. I thought I changed it. Yeah, I did. To use these little icons here. What command is that? It's... I already forgot what the name of the command is. I changed it in my... Oh, I can just look at my aliases. Exa. Okay, so I'm using Exa. And then for my tree stuff, I'm using Erd. NCDU? What's that? I don't know if I know what that is. I probably don't have it, right? NCDU. So analyze disk usage on Linux. Oh, it's ncurse's disk usage. That's what it is. Okay. It's a disk usage analyzer. Okay. Yeah, I might add this to my list of things to check out. I don't normally use this for development stuff, but it can be I can see this being important when trying to figure out what's going on, especially if you throw it into a server, and it's hey, why is the server filled up with space? Oh right, we put we rotated the logs but forgot to actually remove the old ones, which has totally not happened to me multiple times. So yeah, I'll add this to my repertoire. So thank you, Kingstiller. Then I use tree. So I've been using Erd recently for tree instead of tree. Erd is an alternative to tree, named after the big giant tree in Oh, what's that Dark Souls game? The open world one. Elden Ring. Yeah, that's right. Thank you, Itsutsu. Yeah, Erd is apparently that big tree. I haven't played the game. I don't own the game. I haven't even watched anybody play the game because someday I might want to play it. So all I know is that the tree is named Erd. And this tool is based upon that. Okay, so I should get a nested stack file. I should get a rendered index. I should also get a rendered index. Okay, oh, so we get the 200 here, and then I want to make sure that the first line is this. Is the HTML. Okay, and that works. And then beyond that, I don't know if I really care about that hello world because I'm okay with it being something else. I just want it to be the HTML. So this might be enough to say that I'm done. Okay, so respond. So server static files in the public directory in the public route. Render HTML with a name query param. Respond with index HTML when the route doesn't match. Would have been a 404, and the check script is passing. And then we're checking to serve static files. Render HTML with dynamic data. And then I guess final time is redirect. It's not really redirect, is it? It's serve index, serve HTML. I guess it really is that index. Serve the index to HTML file. No matter even if it's a 404. All right. And that should cover almost everything you need for front end full stack, like full page apps, spas. No, mlocate, is that for file locates, like searches? Yeah, there's a Macs have a search that you can hook into their own indexing tool. Basically searches the database for any file name and file type and all sorts of other stuff. I think it's called locate. I think it's just locate. It's been a while since I've used it, but it's really good when it works, when it's like actually searching through the cache that you created. Yeah. However, if it's recaching, that sucks. It takes forever to do that. Even if you have like, you know, the nice fast SSDs. It just, there's so many files. But okay, so we got this. This is fine and happy. Let's run our check. Let's make sure that's running. Ooh, okay, everything is happy and passing. Okay, so we have our README, we have the router, we have assessment, and then nested in there. Okay, so you're happy. Let's commit this as testing that we serve subdirectories, like public subdirectories. And index HTML regardless of the route. Okay, push that up, which means I think we're pretty much done. Let's go ahead and we'll create our solutions branch. All right, back to main and time for us to start just removing things. All right, so in public, I think we're gonna keep these. So they need a nest. They need to serve those. Anything else in this level? I don't think so. Templates. I think we're gonna keep this too. So we'll keep the templates here. We'll keep source here. Okay. And the router. Okay, home. We're going to. So, this should. This should return the index to HTML, or how do I handle HTTP code templates? What do you mean? Like, what do you mean for the status code for that? Like, why? Like if it fails to compile them, or if something else happens with it. It's a 200, so I do a 200 instead of like a 3xx if it doesn't match the route, so it would have been a 404, and it returns the indexed HTML. And that's mostly because I don't want the front end should not get confused about that, because that's a in a SPA environment that's completely valid, where the route doesn't match, but that's only because the back end isn't aware of the route. The front end might be aware of the route, and so therefore it's a valid route. 500 if something goes wrong, so like if it's unable to compile for some reason, or something else goes wrong. 400 if the if like you need something for the template to compile, and or you need like insert some like data into it, and you it just didn't have it. You assume sending the actual HTML page instead of just test when there's an error. Yeah. Is there any network engineer? I guess like that's why do we need a network engineer for this? Yeah, well, I mean, that's the next thing, is like probably sending an actual HTML page. Yeah, okay. I get what you mean then. Yeah, so like what you can do is you can return HTML. So you can catch the errors and return HTML, and I think there's like post middleware. You're doing network mapping of network and electricity like documentation. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I learned some networking with like a Cisco router certification way back in the day, but I never really got into that level. Oh no. Okay, what was that? Labstacy? Never heard of it. Is that what you're searching? What you're learning? Yeah, sorry. I have links to common things turned on, but links to like things that we haven't seen, I've turned off. Oh, it's your project. You can throw that on our Discord and we can take a look at it there. I mostly want to look at it when I'm not like on stream necessarily. So because I don't have like a VPN or anything else. Oh, it's okay, yeah, you got it. And then I have to take off pretty soon. Well, actually, I have to take off now. and go into work. So I'll take a look at that project, and then just sometime I'll be able to just go like, hey, yeah, it's pretty cool. Oh, you do streaming too? Awesome. Let me follow you. All right. Followed. I know I said it was Friday and not Wednesday, but on most Fridays I don't have to go into the office. But yesterday and today we are doing an all hands, no, on-site. We're doing an on-site for the company, which means that everybody is going into the office. I live relatively close by, so I could just drive in. But I have some coworkers that are flying in from other states, so that's nice. Yeah, we'll check it out. And I followed you so I can see when you're building it on Twitch if I have time and if we're up at the same time. So, anyways, with that, thank you everybody for hanging out today. I will be back. Oh, you know what? Togglebit's online. Togglebit hasn't been online at this time for a long time. Let's raid him. There's enough of us. Togglebit is currently looking at Kinder eggs, but normally does Rust programming. So I trust that he's getting back to some kind of something coding. So I'll do the raid. All right, everybody, I will be back on Monday morning at around 6 a.m. Mountain Time to continue working on this. Normally I don't have on site, so I can program until like 8:45, like 8:30, 8:45, and that will be great. So with that, have a great rest of your day. Have a great weekend, and I will see you all next time. Bye.
Isn't it like German for time?